So I'm involved in three projects. The first one is the Africa Kusoma Literacy Initiative, which seeks to get high school learners involved in reading, writing, and hopefully improving their public speaking skills as well. I'm also involved in the Generation Y Youth Public Forum discussions. And what we do there is we find 50 young people across the country, and we try and develop their own leadership potential and hope that they'll influence some key public policy discussions. And of course, one of the many things that I'm also involved in is the Ngobela Foundation, which is a foundation that works with 4 schools. And what we do there is we promote career guidance, self-awareness, but also trying to ensure that those 4 schools that we partner with become centers of academic excellence. I think there'll never be enough time for anyone to do all of the things that life has to offer. So it's important to set your sights on the things that you value the most. And I think your life purpose here is a great tool to use, because that determines the time that you spend on the various activities that you're involved in. So it's very important to know exactly what it is that you want to do. And it's equally important to know what it is that you can do. And those 2 things help you manage your time. I think being an enterprising individual has a lot to do with finding new ways of thinking and doing things. And I really think that the search for new ideas is in itself a entrepreneurial activity. But it's also equally important to be aware of the challenges that exist around you, because then you find new ways of dealing with those particular challenges. And if you're able to really deal with these particular 2 things in a very good way, I think you've started your journey to become a successful entrepreneur. Any social activist is preoccupied with promoting a particular cause. And the 2 causes that I'm really interested in is education and social entrepreneurship. Being a proponent of both is very exciting, but challenging too. I started off my entrepreneurial journey in grade 9, and we had a very challenging EMS teacher in grade 9, and she always challenged us to find new ways of thinking and doing things. I then started Dynamica 3099, which was a social enterprise that really wanted to get young people involved in a lot of community work. So we did a lot of fundraising, a lot of training, but also a lot of cool activities that young people could identify with. There'll always be a lot of risks involved, but I think the best way to deal with the risks is the ability to make the best decisions. Now granted, there will be one odd bad decision that you might make, but the most important thing in that particular instance is that you should be able to learn how to deal with that particular consequence. So it's very important that you're able to reinvent yourself, but it's also very important that you also stay on course. So academics should remain a first priority. Nothing else should take center stage. And when you do all of this, you minimize the risks of either failure or even disappointment in many other ways. There have been a lot of rewards. After we started Dynamica 3099, we won the Students for the Advancement of Global Entrepreneurship competition. We then proceeded to attend the international finals, which were held in Brazil in 2009. 2 years later, when I was in Matric, I was one of the top 14 finalists for the Matriculant of the Year. In 2011, I was one of top 100 students internationally chosen to attend the South American Business Forum. And then last year, I was listed as one of the top 200 young South Africans by the Mail and Guardian. Yes, maintaining an entrepreneurial outlook is not only about doing something entrepreneurial like running a business, but a lot of it has to do with thinking about things in a very different way. So creatively thinking about some of the challenges that exist and seeking to find new solutions to it. That in itself is an exercise in maintaining an entrepreneurial outlook. Last year I was one of the top 10 Google Young Minds internationally, and that program in itself was about young people who are social activists who have maintained an entrepreneurial outlook and who are doing a number of things within their own communities.